Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, a hearty good morning to you. It is NFL Cutdown Day. Rosters trimmed to 53 today. The Bucs already making some moves, so we will catch you up on that. We've got the Ultimate Buccaneers panel coming on today. Not only these two minds here, but the great Scott Reynolds from Pewter Report will join us, and TJ Reeves, Bucs sideline guy, who I chatted with this morning. And obviously he was on the sidelines for the final preseason game, and that's some very interesting perspectives on Tom Brady. And by the way, confirmed that Tom Brady chose to talk after the preseason game, which I think is very, very interesting. We're going to get into that here in the first few minutes. More information coming out on Brady. So we'll get to that. So Scott TJ is going to join us. We'll talk some baseball as well as the Rays get set to take on the Marlins for a couple, and then the Yankees coming in this weekend. I'd say get your popcorn ready, but get your refi ready for your tickets if you're going to that game. And they need a refinance from Scott Fitzgerald as I say hello to Nick Gaddis this morning. What's up, my friend? How are you?
I was going to say, hold up a second. Get to the ballpark either tonight or tomorrow. Probably tomorrow because we got a lefty on the mound. Because the prodigal son has returned.
Who's that?
Joey Forearms.
That's right.
Joey Wendell.
Joey Wendell.
Remember, he was injured last time the Marlins were here.
Yeah, Popeye's back.
Popeye's back. He probably won't play tonight against the lefty. But
I miss him.
I miss him dearly.
Joey baseball. He's
a Ray.
He's a throwback.
He's a Ray. The Marlins are flashy.
Why did we get rid of him again?
Huh?
What do we get rid of him?
We were trying to open up some spots in the infield, I think.
Right.
Taylor Walls-ish and
those
guys.
Right.
I don't know where you put him in the team, I'm going to be honest with you, but I just always wanted him to be a Ray.
He can play anywhere. First base.
Hey, he played first base.
Right. That's what I'm saying. We put it. If you don't have a spot, we just put you at first base.
He is my all-time favorite Ray. So very excited he's back.
I'm a big Ben Zobrist guy. He was Joey Wendell before.
He's blue collar.
He was Joey Wendell before, and he had a lot more tools than Joey Wendell.
More talented player.
Talented player. One of the great Rays of all time. God, we could have a great conversation on that. I'm sporting my Rays colors today here.
I see that.
Yeah.
You're in the mood.
A little powder blue.
You said some nice things about the front office today. So
I did.
Are.
I did. Yeah.
My Rays too. I didn't realize.
Yeah, they're moving. Listen, they're moving in the right direction. I mean, there's lots of the glass now thing is big. We talked about it yesterday, but it's just a really big thing. That's something they've never done before.
It's exciting.
Like ancillary little tidbit here. Sports Business Journal saying that the Sinclair Broadcast Group is looking to offload the regional sports networks, which is Bally's. So, interesting. And I hate to say this, but it was probably a really good move for Stu Sternberg to take that huge money up front, get that money from the regional sports network, because now it looks like their economic models are really, really bad. Now, he's actually putting that money back into the team. That's the important part with the Glass Now contract. He took all that money he took up front, which he could use to pay for half the stadium, pay the players, move us forward in so many different ways. Not a lot of stuff going on stadium-wise, except to say that I think they're still focused on playing St. Petersburg at this point and trying to get more money out of Hillsborough County. But there's September 14th is the big date for the lawsuit, and I think more things are going to happen after that. But we don't want to get too far down the road on that. We'll hit a little bit on it a little bit later on. I promise you that. We'll get into it. We got lots of college football to hit on today as well. You have now become the USF. How did you describe yourself in your new podcast? Nick is doing a podcast now because he needs to add more jobs to his 17-job resume. Now doing a podcast for Believe Network centered around UCF, and you're going to be the villain.
Yeah, we recorded yesterday, and I am 100% the villain, to the point where after the show, I was pulled aside and told, hey, you need to kind of be more UCF centric on this show because of my
whoever told you that knows nothing about broadcasting.
Because of my spiel about USF at the
Man,
end.
I tell you what, whoever told you that knows zero about broadcasting.
I thought
zero.
it made for great
Of
content
course it
because we
does.
were all bickering back and forth. So
Drama sells. Okay, drama is two dogs fighting over a bone, as we famously call that in film writing school. When you're writing, you have to have drama. You have to create drama. Everybody agreeing is a crappy podcast. That's why you and I disagree a lot. It makes for a much more interesting conversation because we're bringing up both sides of the argument that people at home probably saying this, that, and the other. So we represent both sides of the argument, different perspectives. Obviously, you come from a much younger perspective. I'm the old head, so it works. So whoever's telling you need to be more UCF centric is bonkers. So just tell them I said that as an old broadcast old head.
you might have to come on and represent USF. Honestly.
Oh, I definitely will. I think I'm going to be doing some USF stuff here. Yesterday, they announced they're going to 102.5 The Bone, which is a 100,000 watt station that goes from freaking Pasco County to Naples to Lakeland to Orlando, really. In their old deal with iHeart, they were pushed off to some low power Spanish station half the time because they had conflicts, and now they have their own station. It's a freaking blowtorch, and they got all that great content over there with Drew Garaba, who's a big USF fan, and Mike Calta and the whole group over there. It's the ratings are so much bigger than where they were at 620 and 620 is 20th in the ratings. People don't know that they're 20th in the ratings. The Bone is like third in the ratings. So there's going to be so much bigger audience and new audience to get these USF fans on board. This is a huge deal for them in terms of local media. Now, do a lot of people listen to USF games on the radio? I don't know. I don't know what the numbers are, but it's going to be out there, and it's not just the games, it's the ancillary programming around it. There's going to be a lot more announcements coming vis-a-vis 102.5 The Bone. There's a secondary HD signal that they have that is as big as the main signal, easy to find on your radio. There where Jeff Scott's show is going to be and some other sports programming. So very interesting things coming down the road here in local radio. We'll keep it at that right now, and big announcements to come. A lot of stuff I can't talk about that I know, but I can't talk about it right now. So we'll just keep it under wraps as much as I want to say, but I can't do it. Brian Kelly yesterday. By the way, I did not say welcome to the show. With Nick Edis is here. I'm here. Scott Reynolds at 10:30. TJ Reeves at 11:20. We are brought to you by Emerging Investigations, Tampa Bay's #1 private investigation agency. We'll tell you more about them later. So we got lots to get to today. We're going to get into college football as well. Brian Kelly yesterday, new LSU head coach, said he's not going to divulge who his starting quarterback is because it's a tactical advantage not to do so, and he's right. He's got two quarterbacks, Jaden Daniels, who's the transfer from Arizona State, who's more of the dual threat, and Garrett Nussmeier, who's the redshirt sophomore or freshman who's been around. Remember, Miles Brennan, who was going to be the end-all, be-all, left the program. Max Johnson left the program, Brad Johnson's son, and have they named a starter at A&M?
Yeah, it's Haynes King.
Oh, it's not going to be Max.
No, but the expectation is Max should be ready and needs to keep ready, and he'll probably get in there pretty soon.
He's just still learning the offense and everything.
Probably,
I think Max will take over.
He's more talented than Haynes King.
Yeah. So, so that a lot of stuff happened at FSU, obviously playing LSU on Sunday night.
And Florida, Utah, right?
Yes, Florida, Utah. The 7th-ranked Utah Utes coming in, and they're loaded.
Yeah.
They are absolutely loaded. They're coming off a Rose Bowl berth. A Pac-12 championship. They return, I think, 14 or 15 starters, including their quarterback. They're really good.
Yep.
They're really good. Florida's going to be tested. They're going to need a big home field advantage on that one. What is that? Is that a 7 o'clock?
It's a 7 o'clock game in the 7
o'clock game in the swamp.
It's going to be really.
That's going to be
really
a great
good
atmosphere. That's a great. I think Billy Napier would have rather had a Duquesne before
probably
that would have helped him.
Yeah,
because you're bringing in new, you got new systems, you got new coaches, you got new players, you got new everything, and Utah is all about. They're the same team from last year. They've got so much continuity going against a team that has very little continuity. That's a tough ask for Florida, even at home. But the Swamp's a tough place to play.
Yeah, I was just checking here real quick. The times, it works out perfectly. We get USF and BYU at 4 on
4
Saturday.
o'clock. Yeah, and show up for that, folks. Come on, let's get out there for that.
And you're really about this.
Tickets are
program,
not
get in there.
$71. They're not $71. They're very cheap.
Yeah, but you got that at 4:00. You got Florida, Utah at 7:30. So there's some time there to get adjusted. And then of course we got FSU the following day. So all three programs that we're keeping our eye on, all playing at different times. So it's exciting.
College game day at 9:00.
I'm excited.
I'm going to be in New Orleans. So
I'm off on Saturday and Sunday this week.
So
I'm
nice.
Very excited.
Got to keep my wits about me. Be watching games at Pat O'Brien's in the piano bar.
And the Rays are playing the
Singing
Yankees
Piano
this weekend,
Man.
too.
What's that?
The Rays are playing the Yankees,
this
weekend, and I feel like it's almost taking a back seat, to be honest.
It really, it's football
It's week
season,
one of
bro.
college football.
It's fun. And look, in Ohio State, Notre Dame,
Oh.
which is going to be a bloodletting, 17.5 points is the number for a fifth-ranked team. I think it's the third highest spread with a top 5 matchup in the history of college football.
They ain't the 5th-ranked team in the nation.
That's true.
I don't care what
That's
the
true.
rankings tell you.
Yeah, I don't know where the hell do you get that. And Marcus Freeman, God bless him. That's a tough ask for him. Hey, buddy, first game, go to Ohio State. They're loading. CJ Stroud, the whole group. Yeah, good luck on that. That's tough. That's a tough ask. Yeah. So that'll be interesting to watch that. And of course, Georgia and Oregon, which I think is going to be interesting. I mean, freaking Georgia put an entire team into the NFL, and they're still loaded. Kirby. People forget Kirby Smart recruited, I think, had the number one or two recruiting class for 4 years in a row. I think it was 3 or 4 years in a row, and thus leading to a national championship. By the way, if you go back and, everybody bags on, recruiting rankings. Oh, it doesn't mean anything. Well, go back and look at the national champions, and you'll see that you have to be top 5 in recruiting. I think it's over the last, 10, 15 years. The national champion every year has had a top 5 class, two of the previous 3 years, something like that. And point being, you got to be in the top 5 in recruiting to play for a national championship. This just in, you need talent. It's the Jimmies and Joes, not the X's and O's. Which, by the way, is why Dan Mullen got fired. You think you can coach and develop players all you want, and you can win some games at Mississippi State, but if you're not going to go all in and try to be a top 5 recruiting or accomplish that, at least top 10, you got no chance at a national championship. So that's the name of that game right there. So we'll be getting a little bit more into college football as well today. Some of the other stories we mentioned, baseball. How about our Angels? Thank you. They beat the Yankees again last night, 4-3. Judge hit his 50th home run, I think, in the only at bat that he was allowed to have last night, because he's getting intentionally walked every single time, which is smart. Why the hell would you pitch to him right now? He pitched to him, I think, twice, and he hit a 435-foot bomb out into the rocks at Anaheim. But they held on and won 4-3. So the Rays are now 6 games back in the loss column.
The loss column, yes.
With the 3-game series coming up this weekend.
Series coming up, yes. Telling you.
So if McClanahan is going tonight against the Marlins,
and then Rasmussen's the next day.
Rasmussen. So who pitches Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Do we know yet?
Does Patino get a spot start in there? Because they sent Yarbrough down.
He has to.
They sent Yarbrough down. Kluber went on Sunday.
So Kluber's up on Friday.
Would it be Springs? Is that what
Kluber,
is it going to end up being
Springs.
Patino, Springs, and or they might go an opener there? I mean,
and then does McClanahan pitch Sunday? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah.
I don't think he would, because I think the Rays get an off day.
Yeah,
Thursday, right?
Yeah.
He's pitching today, so that's what, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
It's 5th day.
No, but you usually get 5 days rest, right?
It used to be on your 5th day you pitch, but who knows?
Maybe.
I think you're right, though. I think it's now 6 days, 5 days. Yeah, whatever. So that doesn't work out well for us.
No, but I'm not scared of the Yankees anymore. I'm not scared. This isn't the Yankees from April. This isn't the Yankees from May.
No,
these are the broken down Yankees with drama going on.
Yeah,
we got Aroldis Chapman on the IL for a tattoo infection. I mean, that is something so on brand for that guy.
It's so on brand.
Do we have to have a no tattoo during the season policy now? Because I've never heard of that. I mean,
I haven't either.
Like, don't we have enough technology and stuff to not get those?
Dude, where are you going to get your tattoos?
Where are you getting your tattoo? I'm questioning Aroldis Chapman's decisions.
Hello, Ybor City. No, that would be disparaging Ybor City. I'm sorry for that comment, but what are you doing?
I don't know.
I don't know.
know.
And is that I am clearly neither one of us are really credible to be speaking on the tattoo issue. If we have some out there in Twitter land, please hit us up at FanStream JP. Is this common to get tattoo infections? Like what kind of place are you going to get tattoos if you're getting anyway? That's their problem.
It is the Bronx. I mean, so I can't imagine there's the nicest tattoo shops just laying around.
Yeah. Oh, and it's this other story, which is just awful. Brian Robinson, we knew he got shot yesterday, but the details came out that this was another one of these carjackings that are just carjackings everywhere in these big cities now. This is the crime of choice, sending out juveniles who do these carjackings and get the cars and bring them back, and then they're back on the streets the next day because they're juveniles and they're shooting people and they're putting these kids back on the street. And now it's happened to Brian Robinson. Now it's finally hit home for you because he was on your fantasy team and you traded for him. But I mean, are you kidding me? And they say he has a chance to come back, but he was shot twice in the leg.
Yeah,
and he's going to come back and run.
I don't know. Everything that they've been saying is that they're very optimistic that he's doing well, and he was released from the hospital today, so that's good news.
The grace of God, thank God.
Yeah, just crazy stuff. This NFL season.
Yeah, that's the world we live in now. All right, so those are kind of the ancillary stories, and we'll get back to some of them as we go through the day. But I wanted to hit this Tom Brady stuff at the top, and I know we talk a lot about Tom Brady here, but folks, listen.
Tom Brady.
He's the GOAT. and what's going on right now is the biggest story in football and in celebrity and TMZ and all this stuff. And I'm getting so many calls and texts from national media people about what's going on down there, what's happening down there. Obviously I lived on Davis Island for 10 years. I have a lot of friends on Davis Island where Tom Brady lives. It's my understanding now that Giselle and the kids are in Miami. They're going to school in Miami. So I guess that he's living there alone or maybe with Guerrero. I don't know that. But so that is a backdrop. And I'm not getting it. I don't want to get into all the stuff that we've heard. I'm just here to tell you that there is a lot more to the story. There is a lot more to the story. And yes, it is very, very personal issues. And I'm certainly not going to repeat the things that I've heard here. We've said that, these are family issues. These are marriage issues. And a lot of people go through this stuff. And Tom's, he's had issues before. I mean, we're married to Moynihan, but has a kid with another woman. And this is not disparaging it in any way. This is just to say this is life for everybody. And it happens to Tom Brady as well. And I think in the next few months, if not sooner, there's going to be a lot of reporting about this stuff. That's just my gut feeling about how the media works and some of the things I'm hearing, because when you're this is not just NFL media, folks. This is not just NFL media. This is TMZ. This is every website in America. Everybody is chasing this story now. And when everybody is chasing the story like this, there is, in this world that we live in now with social media and cameras everywhere, nothing, no stone is going to be left unturned. And it just begs the question, what kind of headspace is Tom Brady in? And I thought that this press conference the other day was absolutely remarkable on so many levels for Tom Brady. And I know a lot of you have heard it before, but I want you to hear it, some of it again, and not just the personal stuff, but also, some of the other stuff. It's just in terms of where Tom Brady's head is at right now. And TJ Reeves is going to come on a little bit later on and just talk about what he observed in terms of being around Tom Brady on the sideline. Nothing, bad or in any way nefarious at all. Just we're talking, because Tom has kind of left this open to speculation because he's not telling us specifically what's going on. And you're hearing a lot of national pundits talk about this as well, who are in the know. And I talked about Dan Patrick yesterday, and Dan Patrick was relaying his own stories of balancing life and family and marriage, going through a very, very public life. And he's relaying these stories because he knows, and many other people know what Tom Brady is going through. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to say the exact words, but we know what he's going through out of respect for his privacy. But I think it's fair for Bucs fans to want to know what's going on. Now, we're not going to talk about the very deep personal issues, but is he in a place where he can be Tom Brady? This was a large discussion on Get Up this morning with a former teammate, Rob Ninkovich, talking about it as well. And, to me, the ultimate sign was that Brady decided himself to come forward and talk about his personal issues in some way. And he reached out, and anyone will tell you this who knows nonverbal communication, or is even a therapist in any way, will say when you admit publicly. And I want you, we'll start with that. There's shit going on in my life. Let's start with that soundbite, Nick, as I lean into it here. This is somebody reaching out to everyone and saying, hey, there's stuff going on here. I want you to know it. I didn't have to volunteer it. I didn't have to come forward and do this press conference today. And everyone should be asking the question, why did he do it? And in my mind, in my opinion, and the people that I've talked to that are in this space, this is someone that's reaching out subconsciously or consciously and saying, hey, man, be ready. There's something coming down the track that's going to, that you all will probably hear about or stuff. So I'm and everybody wants to know, and everybody wants answers to these questions. So this is my best attempt to talk about it. Let's hear it. And the question basically was, what's going on? Where were you?
And it's going to be a big test for us. So
just let it roll from there.
Fun to kick off the season in 15 days in Dallas.
I want to see if we can hear the questions as much as possible.
Tom, do you feel you're where you wanted to be football-wise, even after taking 10, 11 days off?
I played a lot of football in my day, so a lot of seasons, a lot of games, a lot of practice. I feel pretty good.
Was the decision to step away difficult for you?
I'm sorry?
Was the decision to step away for 10, 11 days difficult for you to make?
No.
Was that prearranged as part of you coming back to the team, like a grand plan of taking?
It's all personal. Everyone's got different situations they're dealing with, so we all have really unique challenges to our life. And, I'm 45 years old, man. There's a lot of shit going on. So, you just got to try to figure out life the best you can. And, it's a continuous process. So,
Can you talk?
I mean, that demeanor right there is a guy that is, he's in, I think, some emotional distress. This is not the Masked Singer. This is not, hair plugs or, redoing of his hair. People are talking about this. Is not had to go for some facial surgery or Botox. This is something that's a deeply personal matter. And, the rumors have been out there, for a while. And look, we know that this has put a tremendous strain on his relationship. Let's play some more of that if we can.
Talk about your chemistry with Julio Jones in the short time you've been together.
Julio's really easy to have chemistry with. He's an elite wide receiver in the NFL. So to have the opportunity for me to play with Mike and Chris, Julio, Antonio, Randy Moss, Wes Welker, Julian Edelman, Danny Amendola, Troy Brown, David Patton. It's really an amazing, amongst many other guys too, tight ends like Gronk and Ben Watson. I'm very blessed in my football career to play with a lot of amazing players that have elevated me personally and professionally to be the best I could be. So
a lot of retrospective.
Very grateful to all these guys for the role they played in my life
conference.
And kind of the
role they
give
played
to
in my
each other,
life.
really, which is what the sport's all about. The amazing communication and day after day work ethic to try to, bring great purpose to what you do in life.
Sorry, I almost spit my coffee out because he was rattling off these Hall of Fame receivers, and he's like, Danny Amendola. I'm like, whoa.
Well, and you notice how he worked in their personal relationships and how important.
Yeah,
that
I
is
know
to
he's
him.
close to Danny Amendola.
Yeah.
I know that. But.
And this, to me, this is part of it. This whole press conference is all kind of a retrospective of his career and people that have supported him. And it's almost like it's circle the wagons time. And this is, we said this yesterday. If anybody can compartmentalize this, it's Tom Brady. If anybody can use this as fuel, it's Tom Brady. Yeah. And you may get the best version of him that you've ever gotten because he's going through that. So I think that's to me, that's way more likely than him melting down mentally, because that, the field is where he goes to get his, that's his identity. That's where it is. That's his respite. We continue.
Respect to the fact that you said these are personal issues. Do you feel like you were able to take care, address the things that you needed to address? Are you in a good place now?
I'm ready to go.
So, how concerned are you about the center position? You lost Ryan Jensen. Obviously, Hainsey's come in. He had to go out of the game. The kick hurt his shoulder. Is this a concern of yours right now?
Tough position. I mean, that's a big position for an offense, center position. And obviously, we all hated to lose Ryan. The extent of that, we're still trying to figure out. But it's going to be a while. And, Hainsey stepped in, done a good job, worked really hard to gain the confidence of his teammates last year, trust of the whole organization. And, he's going to have to do a great job, and hopefully he can get over what happened tonight and be ready to go. But, that remains to be seen. And then it's an amazing thing about football. It's a big challenge. You think you're really set, and then all of a sudden, that third guard position isn't that important until one of the first two gets hurt, and then there it is. And that's just the way football is. You got to learn to adjust, and you got to have the right scheme. And it's a 17-game season now, so it's a lot of things over the course of the year that you have to adjust to. And we're adjusting early, which is typically the case, and probably every team's doing it. But for us on the offensive side of the ball, that's a big position for us to be able to have to figure out.
Tom, Jason Light had said.
Let's stop it right there. I mean, clearly in Tom's mind, it's not figured out. It's not figured out. He has concerns.
It was so similar to what he said, 3-4 weeks ago?
Yes.
When he first came to the podium,
Yes.
and he talked about Ryan Jensen. And
Yes.
again, just kind of like the facial reactions and how he kind of stops before he gets to his next point when talking about Hainsey. And he's like, this entire organization, like, he never says, like, I have trust in him. It's like those little things that we're used to hearing from him.
Exactly.
I mean, you could tell he can, again, I encourage everybody, you have to watch the facial reactions on these things.
He is not, he is very concerned about that situation, as he should be. Folks, you go look at what the Colts did in their first 2 or 3 possessions, defensive situations. Look what happened to Gadecki and Hainsey when they were playing. They were blown off the ball. They were beaten back. And a couple of they did provide a pretty good pocket a couple of times for Brady. So that's good. And they're going to get better. But against stout competition like those guys.
Was it really that bad?
It was bad.
I mean, I didn't go back and watch like the all 50, like the all 22, I'm sure, like you did.
When you're getting knocked back, you can see when the impact comes. First of all, Gadecki's slow off the ball. When the impact comes and you're knocked back 2 and 3 yards, that can't happen to Brady because he can't escape out the sides. He can't step up in the pocket. Everybody knows this. This is not new news. It's a problem. It's a huge problem.
I guess I just didn't see any issues like with the protection at all, honestly, on the first drive. I mean, because he had a clean pocket, I thought every single time. Got the ball out quick. I mean, go back and look at the Julio Jones play.
Yeah, that was a good
time.
Yeah,
all day to
and
throw.
if I'm not mistaken, Gadecki on that particular play got help and still was pushed back. And remember, he was in the shotgun. Again, you don't have to. That's the thing. If he's in the shotgun, Brady still, even on that play to Julio, is getting the ball out in 2.5 because he's letting that ball go way before Julio comes back to it. So he's still getting the ball out, and that's the thing. He doesn't have to have this incredible protections. I'm kind of contradicting myself here. For the because he gets the ball out. They'll make adjustments. They'll max protect. They'll do a lot of different things. If they have to help Gadecki, they'll help him. They'll help him. If they have to help. You have to keep it back in. If they have to keep O'Keefe in behind him, they'll help him. I was
going to say that, and I mentioned this when they drafted O'Keefe, and I think I remember you saying like, well, he's probably not going to play a lot because he's like tight end 4, and they're not just going to play him so much just because he can block. I think he's going to be out there a lot, to be honest.
He might be
because Gronk. I understand Gronk was the jack of all trades, right, and could do everything, but Cam Brate's not blocking. We know that. I know Kyle Rudolph can do it too, but O'Keefe is the best run blocker and pass blocker the Bucs have at
and
that
Leonard
position.
Fournette is 240 pounds.
And Leonard Fournette has
Yeah.
improved greatly
Yeah.
since he's gotten here. So I think you're going to see a lot of sets where you have 6 on the line there.
Yeah, I think you're going to get, and that's the beauty of Brady. Brady will beat you with 2 receivers in the pattern, and because especially when they're Evans and Julio Jones and Russell Gage, when you've got receivers like that have big catch radiuses,
Well, if you
can get separation. Those 2 guys can beat 4 and 5 defensive backs.
Yeah, and
especially
maybe,
with Brady's arm, velocity, and
yeah,
accuracy.
you're going to have 3 guys. If
Right.
you go 6 set and then Fournette in the back, you got 3 receivers. And I'm running out Evans, Godwin,
And we did a lot of that in the
whoever
Super Bowl
else.
year. There was a lot of extra tackle, max protect in the Super Bowl year because when Brady is that accurate and has that great of an arm that he only needs that receiver to come open for a split second. And he already knows with anticipation, if they're running a deep dig, he's letting that ball go before they even turn. And it's right on the money when they turn around. And that can beat a lot of different defenses. So it's not the end of the world, but
I'm just not as worried about it.
Well, here's the thing. It only takes one.
Yeah.
It only takes one whiff from the inside to get him hurt. And that's the concern. I mean, overall, is this offense still going to be great? Absolutely. Fantastic. But God forbid, if Hainsey goes down, what are you doing? Where are you? I mean, and it's not like you can go out on the street and get somebody.
No, there's not many people willing to give away guards,
Yes.
and there's not many just laying around.
All right, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, Scott Reynolds from the Pewter Report's going to join us. It's cut down day to 53. Some guys have already been cut. We'll tell you who they are, or Scott will tell you who they are, and then who else is going to get cut because they know. They always know. It's the Pewter Report. We'll be back right after this. Stay with us.
Let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, and you just don't feel like you have the vitality you once had? You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. Do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling.
Military veterans, are you struggling with alcoholism or substance abuse? Is it taking a toll on your relationships and your work life? Are you having trouble focusing, constantly anxious? Well, you may not be surprised to know that your fellow military vets have your six. Heroes Mile is a new concept in rehabilitation clinics, veterans helping veterans. At Heroes Mile, we staff our rehab center with fellow veterans who can understand what you're going through. Our mission is to help you heal from issues that only your fellow veterans can truly understand. Located just outside of DeLand, we offer a full range of inpatient and outpatient programs dealing with substance abuse, post-traumatic stress, and military sexual trauma. We choose to serve veterans because we know how complex these issues are. You could choose to fight the battle alone or win the war together. We are the community care provider with the VA and also accept most major insurance. At Heroes Mile Rehabilitation Center, we have your six. Go to heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. That's heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida. JP here for Emerging Investigations, Tampa Bay's premier investigation agency. Do you suspect your spouse is cheating or involved in a divorce, that your spouse is hiding money, an ex-employee or current employee with suspicious behavior? Is there a criminal matter you need help with? If you need information you can count on, using the professionals at Emerging Investigations is a slam dunk. Emerging Investigations is a licensed and insured private investigation agency, family-owned. Emerging is your ideal resource to secure evidence and validation, allowing you to make informed decisions in life's biggest matters. Led by industry executive Brian D'Antonio, Emerging possesses the experience and resources to get needed results. Emerging Investigations maintains an excellent reputation as a premier investigation agency. They are known for results. You're not just hiring a PI, but an organized, dedicated team using state-of-the-art technology. Their proven investigative methods produce crucial information used in criminal cases, insurance fraud, and personal injury claims. Many local attorneys, industry agencies, and your concerned neighbors all count on Emerging Investigations. Just go to their website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's 813-291-FACT-3228. Get results you can trust in life's biggest matters. Emerging Investigations.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by those great folks at Emerging Investigations. You can reach them at emerginginv.com. Tampa's #1 private investigation agency. And let's bring in our good friend who does great predictive work on the 53-man roster. He is Scott Reynolds from the Pewter Report. They get the draft right. They get the rosters right. They get everything right. You got some inside sources over there, Scott Reynolds. What's going on, my friend?
How you doing, guys? We try. That's our job. We try to be right with our predictions and prognostications. Not always the case, but got a pretty good track record.
Now, I just saw you guys put up a PR roundtable of predicting the record and the wins and losses. Very interested to see what you got. Because today's we always do that when the schedule comes out. We know absolutely nothing about the roster. Right. Now we actually know about the roster.
Yeah, we always wait till the end of the preseason, right, to see who's injured and who's stepping up, things like that. You know, it makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, probably the better idea. So what do you got? What do you? I know the over 11.5 in Vegas. I've said under.
I'm the negative Nancy on the PR staff, apparently. I've got them going 11-6. I think that they have a chance to be a better team, and that's no disrespect. And, of course, there's already some Buccaneer fans, I'm sure, chiming in, saying, I don't know what I'm talking about, and Tom is back for another year. He's more motivated, et cetera, et cetera. I get all that. But keep in mind, the goal is to win the Super Bowl, not to get the best record in the regular season. The Bucs were 11-5 the year they won the Super Bowl. They were 13-4 last year and didn't win the Super Bowl. Now, if they've gotten past the Rams, I like them over the 49ers the next week and the Bengals in the Super Bowl. But it didn't happen. So it's all about getting to the postseason and having two things on your side, health and momentum. And if you're playing well and you're healthy, you stand a really good chance of winning the Super Bowl. That's happened twice in Tampa Bay history. In 2002 and in 2020, the Buccaneers had exactly one starter on injured reserve. In 2002, it was Booger McFarland. No disrespect to Booger, but he was the nose tackle. If you take all 11 positions on Monty Kiffin's defense back in the Tampa 2 days, the nose tackle is down there near the Sam linebacker in terms of importance. That's why they could win that game with Buck Gurley and Chuck Darby, right?
No disrespect.
No disrespect. Yeah. And then the last time the Bucs won the Super Bowl in 2020, the one lone starter in IR was right guard Alex Kappa, right? So that's huge. The fact that the Buccaneers already don't have Ryan Jensen to start the season and have lost Ali Marpet to retirement. And Alex Kappa, say what you want about his run blocking ability, he was pretty good in pass protection. Matter of fact, in 2020, he was the only offensive lineman that didn't allow a sack that year. So I like the upgrade that Shaq Mason brings in the run game. But when you look at the interior offensive line for this team, with Luke Gedeke, who is not the second coming of Ali Marpet at left guard, Robert Hainsey, who is a long way away from being a Pro Bowl center like Ryan Jensen, and then Shaq Mason, who is great when you're running the ball, but at 6'2", 305 pounds against the pass rush, it's a different story. Listen, Tom Brady's the best that there ever has been, and he's still going strong. But any quarterback, including Brady, when you pressure them up the middle, it's a different story. And I just have my doubts about the ability of this interior offensive line to hold up and produce more wins than last year's Buccaneer team. So I say 11-6 because there's a tougher schedule. Most of my Pewter Report counterparts say 12-5. And then we even have Bailey Adams saying 13-4, just checking to see if he has a fever. He might have some kind of fever or hungover from the previous night. I'm not sure, but I think 13-4 is a little high for me.
Not with this schedule. No way.
Yeah.
And by the way, I totally concur with everything you just said. It's kind of one of my big points this morning. When looking at Gedeke and especially going up against the Colts last week, he got knocked back physically. He's not at an elite level just yet. He'll learn how to play.
Right.
Nobody can make up for those deficits better than Brady getting that ball out in 2.5 seconds. You just got to get in the guy's way for God's
That's
sakes.
right. That's right.
So we'll be able to manage that. But in the end, and like I just said, it only takes one whiff. It only takes one whiff.
That's right.
And to lose 12, and then you're not going 11-6. Who knows?
Correct.
But, I'm right there with you. What do you got, Nick?
For Bucks record this year?
Yeah, or for Scott here.
I mean, I'll go Bucks record. I'll go the 12 and 12. What is it? 12 and 5.
12-5.
Right? We have 17 games. I mean,
yeah.
I kind of started thinking about the Lightning when you said that, right? Because we all know they 128 points, and you did nothing that year when you got to the playoffs.
Right.
And then they learned that it's not about winning in the playoff or in the regular season. It's about being ready for playoff time. So I'll say that. But while we're here, obviously, it's cut day, and there's a lot of interesting things going around. Yesterday, we asked JC Allen about this. Could there be a surprise cut? And I said, maybe Giovanni Bernard would be a surprise cut. And he said, well, I already have him cut. And I guess it's not looking like a surprise. So does that seem like it's going to be a reality today that they could probably just keep 3 running backs?
I think they're going to, just because not only is Giovanni Bernard having problems staying healthy, but also too, you keep in mind Ryan Jensen's the X factor. They've got to keep him on the roster today in order to put him on the short-term injured reserve tomorrow. So essentially today they're going to have 52 healthy players and Ryan Jensen on the roster at 4:00 today. And so what that's going to do is that's going to force them to cut a player that they intend to bring back a day later once they can put Jensen on injured reserve by 4:00 on Wednesday. And the reason why that's significant is because they might have to keep an extra offensive lineman with Robert Hainsey's ankle injury and Nick Leverett with the shoulder, him being the backup center. You might be forced to keep John Molchin, who really does not deserve a spot on the 53 from a talent standpoint, but just from a sheer number standpoint along the offensive line. You can't go into Dallas week 1 and have on the first series Robert Hainsey's ankle get tripped up again, or he takes a wrong step and all of a sudden it's sprained. He's out. Now you're putting an injured Nick Leverett in there, if Leverett can even go.
Right.
I mean, it can snowball from there, because the most important player on offense is the quarterback. You can make an argument that the second most important player is the center, both of those players touch the ball in every play. That's why the center is important. So this is going to be a carefully constructed 53-man roster. It's not going to be the best 53 players. It's going to be the most important 53 players for week one. Tyler Johnson, Greg Allman is reporting that he's going to be released today, and I'm not terribly surprised by that. I also think that the Devin Tompkins is going to be released as well. So those are a couple of names that might surprise some fans. This team might even keep Brashad Perriman, because there is some strategy involved when it comes to assembling the roster. Perriman's already used the vested veteran the clearance issue once before. So they can keep him on the roster and say, let's say that they wanted to put another receiver like Tyler Johnson or a Devin Tompkins on the practice squad. Mm-hmm. Then it might be a situation where you kind of play that roster game where you have them on the roster, and then you bring up on the weekend a practice squad player, right? Or next week you could even do that because there's no games this week. So for week one, you can play the little roster games and bring somebody up from the practice squad, and then cut Perriman and put him on the practice squad, and then you don't get stuck paying a player.
Gotcha.
That entire salary because they're on the roster week one. There's just some logistical games roster wise that teams have to play when managing the salary cap, and I think that's what the Bucs are going to be doing at the receiver position.
Real quick, I just wanted to chime in here because I don't know if you got word of this yet, Scott, but the Bucs just announced this. They traded Grant Stewart to the Colts here. So I'm guessing that means that Fatukasi might have won that spot, I'm going to assume.
Yeah, I hope so. I certainly hope so. I mean, listen, as much as they needed Stewart for his special teams, he was a liability on defense.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you watched any Buccaneer practice, you knew that. I mean, Stewart was a player that simply was not good when it came to pass coverage. Just too small, too slow, not instinctive enough, but a hell of a special teams player. The problem is you just can't have as a luxury keeping a guy on there just to be on special teams and cover kicks and all that. Now, he was exceptional at it. And if you have a roster that already has really good, competent inside linebackers that can be developmental guys or a solid number three, and I think the real issue for the Buccaneers is they like KJ Britt from the neck up. He's very cerebral. He knows this defense. He spent time learning it. They feel confident with him. But when you watch him next to Fatukasi in the preseason, it's Fatukasi who was beating him to the ball almost every time because of the athleticism and speed that he has. So, and when I look at this, I thought Fatukasi deserved to beat out Stewart, and that's ultimately what happened. It's great the Buccaneers get something for Stewart in a trade.
So I guess Greg Allman is reporting that Tyler Johnson is gone and Scotty Miller is going to make the team, which is what I told you yesterday, Nick.
Yep.
I always have to remind him when I'm right and he's wrong. And I because Scotty's done it in the regular season and he's got the trust of Tom Brady. I think that ultimately is why he's going to be on this team. And I don't know how important it is to the Bucs. I think it's very important. But Tyler Johnson in the last few games maybe missed every single block that he was supposed to make on screen passes.
Yeah.
There was a sweep that Vaughn ran the other day, and he just whiffed on his guy. So as we see him making catches and having a great fall camp, so to speak, these other things that the coaches really freaking care about, he doesn't do very well, and he doesn't play special teams very well, if at all.
Well, yeah, and you know what? That was the thing. When I was at Tennessee, and of course, the advantage you have in the press box is you don't have to watch the TV version, the limited there. And I watched. They put him out there in the second half. They put Tyler Johnson out there as a gunner, and he just kind of, I don't know if he was just tired from playing on offense, but it just seemed like he loafed down the field.
Exactly.
And I'm not saying that as a character detriment because I think, too, I'm not calling him lazy. Again, he might have been completely gassed having played the offensive series before that. But he certainly wasn't going all out.
Right.
And for a player that is going to occupy wide receiver spot 5 or 6 on this team, you have to be a factor in special teams. And it'll be interesting to see if they end up keeping Scotty Miller or not. Again, keep in mind, This is going to be a situation where there's going to be some strategic moves, and the roster today at 4:00 is not going to be the final roster that shows up in Dallas to face the Cowboys. There's going to be more roster moves made. So this is like part one today. What was the Avengers Infinity Wars and then Endgame, right? This is going to be, today's going to be Infinity Wars. And then
putting the S at the end of it, please. You're killing me.
What?
It's not Infinity Wars. It's war.
Okay, Infinity War.
Yes.
Infinity War.
Come on, Boomer, get it right. Killing me.
And then we're going to have End Games after that.
I'm about to take you out of the stream.
I know. I'm just getting on your nerves, Nick. I'm a Marvel guy, so I'm just innocent mistake.
They're so easy to trigger, aren't they? That's what we do with us old heads. So they're so easy to trigger. All right, listen, I got to ask you, because you were there. Were you shocked that Tom Brady came into the press room first and foremost? And were you shocked by what you heard? And what did it tell you? Not necessarily. We heard what he said.
Yeah,
but I thought his nonverbal was even more telling. Where's Tom Brady at? Are you? I'm not concerned about his ability to play football.
Correct.
I think he can compartmentalize whatever's going on in his life. But I think in my world, there's some very serious stuff going on in his personal life.
It seems like it. It's listen, we have to react on what we know. And granted, Tom Brady played a couple of series in that game. He hasn't looked happy. And I know that there's some national media people out there trying to really hone in on this. Well, Brady doesn't look happy. It's not that he's not happy with the Buccaneers. Matter of fact, I think he's happy with the Buccaneers. I think when he's on the field with Mike Evans, joking and laughing and talking, that's his sanctuary. Okay? That's his happy place. The gridiron is his happy place. That's why he wanted to come back and play this game. I think he's perfectly happy in a Buccaneer uniform. I think where maybe he's unhappy is when he takes the uniform off. Because the two times we've seen him talk to the media after practice, after the fun part's over, right? It's now you're talking to the media. Then he doesn't seem as happy because he's out of the happy arena. And so I think that's the thing. We've only really seen him twice since training camp has started. And once was the day right before the whole Dolphins tampering thing came out. So maybe he got wind of that, wasn't in a great mood. You know, that could be the case. But then the other one was after this game. And for him to sit there and say, I'm 45, I got a lot of shit going on. That was kind of telling. I mean, I appreciate the honesty. I think that Brady's being completely transparent. Doesn't have to provide every single detail as to what shit he's talking about. And that's fine. I respect his privacy. The other thing that I did like is, again, the fact that he's holding on to the fact that football is his sanctuary. When he sheepishly kind of grinned when asked about, you know, the layoff from training camp, and he said, "Yeah, I think I remember how to play football. I'm pretty good at it." You know, I love that. I thought that was great, and that should be code for every Buccaneer fan, player, GM, and coach saying, "Don't worry about me. On the field, everything's going to be fine. I got some shit I'm dealing with off the field, and whatever that is, I'll deal with it. But here, I'm going to be good." And you mentioned it, JP. This guy has the ability to block out things. Remember, during the 2020 Super Bowl run, right? His father was suffering from COVID, if I have my years correctly, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's gone on to the Super Bowl with the Patriots with his mother battling cancer. So this guy thrives on the football field. When everything else is not doing so well outside of that, he has a chance to make that right. And I think he finds great honor and value in that. The fact that he can't control some of these external things. You can't control COVID and cancer and how your spouse reacts to things in your family life and all. You can't control all of that. On the football field, when you're the quarterback, you have a great deal of control. You control what plays are called. You control, for the most part, how they're executed. So there's a lot you can control there. And I think Brady relishes in that, especially when things maybe aren't going hunky-dory outside of the field.
Scott Reynolds, Pewter Report, joining us here. You know, Do you think that you talk about the roster? Is there Jason Light? Is he actively searching for a trade for an interior lineman, a veteran? They don't come easy. Nobody wants to lose them. But, given the fact that we are where we are and this is going to be Brady's last year, do you up the ante? And I mean, in terms of future draft picks, player for players deals don't go down too often. And I'm not sure what you could offer up to get an interior lineman of any quality, but a high draft pick will certainly get the job done, especially to a team that may not be in contention this year vis-a-vis the Chicago Bears or some other team that may have may feel like, hey, they drafted a rookie in the 4th round and the guy's better than we thought we were, and we've got an expensive guy playing right guard or center that maybe we'll part with it if you can give me a 2nd or a 3rd, or if I'm Jason Light, I'm chasing that right now. I'm chasing it. I'm trying to
if there's a deal to be had, I would not put it past them to pull the trigger. We've seen Jason Light be very aggressive with trades, trading a 3rd round pick for Jason Pierre-Paul, right? That was an offseason deal. And then he's also made an aggressive in-season move, signing Antonio Brown. So we've also seen Jason Light do very good work with the waiver wire too. In 2016, I believe it was 2016, he got JP Smith off the waiver wire. I think maybe that was 2018. No, it was 2016. Sorry, I'm getting my years mixed up. JP Smith claimed off the waiver wire from the Bills. He went on to be the Bucs' 2nd leading sacker that year. In 2018, it was Carl Nassib who he claimed off the waiver wire. Again, Nassib ended up being a 2nd leading sacker. So he's very adept at getting players. I trust Jason Light with offensive linemen. I just do. Okay. Ali Marpet, Donovan Smith, Alex Kappa, those are homegrown, drafted offensive linemen. I'm not going to give him a whole bunch of credit for Tristan Wirfs because Tristan Wirfs is just good. He's a 1st round pick, but at least Light had the foresight to trade up a spot to ensure that he got Wirfs, right? So I'll give him credit for that. But then Ryan Jensen, who had 1 year as a center in Baltimore after playing guard, he goes out and makes this kind of unheralded guy, highest paid center in the league. And it didn't pay off at first, but it paid off with the Super Bowl in year 3 and then a Pro Bowl in year 4 of that deal that he did. So when it comes to offensive linemen, Jason has so much capital in my bank when it comes to his credibility and his evaluation skills. And so if he doesn't make a move, I trust him. If he does make a move, I trust him even more. And I think that he needs to make a move. I think Luke Gedeke can be really good. What concerns me is, as you mentioned, Bucs are on the clock. Time is ticking. The Brady countdown is on. He's not going to be here forever. The Super Bowl window is closing. And do you want to put all your eggs in that basket? The other thing is what happens if Shaq Mason gets injured? Are you comfortable with Luke Gedeke left guard, Nick Leverett at right guard, and Robert Hainsey at center protecting Tom Brady for the remaining 13, 14 games of the season? That's where he has to really look at this. I'm in favor of bringing in a veteran if he can find the right guy for the right value, making a trade. And we've already seen the Zion McCollum situation is just that. He traded a future draft pick for McCollum. Now he's already acquired a draft pick from the Colts. So I could see that happening where if the deal's out there, he makes the move.
Hey, I wanted to ask you about this. I know this is a little bit off topic, but there is this list out here, the top 100, and I know Brady's number 1, but there is an omission to that list, and it feels like there's always an omission to that list, and it's obviously Lavonte David, and I feel like we've been fighting this battle for a decade of trying to convince people that this guy is as good as his peers, and for whatever reason, his peers don't put him in these lists, and there's 12 linebackers on that list, 12. Devin White was voted as the 64th best player in the league. He's not the 64th best player in the league. I think we would all agree on that. Yeah. I mean, given that Tom Brady came here and we expected all these players to get sort of a jolt to the national eye, why do you think it just has not happened for Lavonte David yet?
That's a great question. I think I'll use this analogy. Sometimes players that are pegged, whether it's in the NBA or the NFL, as players that just commit fouls, you earn that reputation, right? And maybe rightfully so or wrongfully so. And I think that with Lavonte David's case, it's become acceptable for the media to overlook this guy. Well, we've done it in the past when he was really, really good. And so it's tough to maybe justify it now that maybe he's not as good, so we'll overlook him again. I just think there's some of that bias out there. It's wrong, but it's real, and it's disturbing because I think that he's getting the Paul Gruber treatment, right? Gruber deserved to make a couple of Pro Bowls. Gruber's not a Hall of Fame type of player, but I'm glad he was in the Bucs Ring of Honor, but he deserved to make a couple of Pro Bowls. He just was on some really bad Bucs teams.
Right.
And I also think, too, what hurt Lavonte David is just the whole Pro Bowl process, in that he was not a great blitzer outside of the 2013 season where he got snubbed for the Pro Bowl, but was an all-pro player. His only year as an all-pro. And I think that the NFL, which is always late and slow to react to almost everything, maddeningly so. Look at the Pro Bowl, for example. Nobody wants to watch it. They're not fixing it. They're not doing a damn thing to make it better. They just keep on keeping on.
Right.
Well, when you had when the league went to just as much, if not more, 3-4 defense rather than the 4-3, which was very common in the 1990s and even into the 2000s, the term linebacker means different things, right? Shaq Barrett is an outside linebacker, but he's really a defensive end,
right? Because
the Bucs rush 4 on nickel. Most teams do. They rush 4 and they drop 7, unless you're bringing a blitz, but you still have 4 defensive linemen, essentially. But he's an outside linebacker, so he counts as a linebacker. And I think that's where Lavonte David got hurt, was you had guys like Justin Houston and these other players that ended up being linebackers that made the Pro Bowl because they had 12 and 13 sacks.
Yeah, they respect
and you look at player, correct. And you look at Lavonte David, and I'll tell you what, too, this might be an unpopular opinion. Derek Brooks, if you flip their careers, Lavonte David's numbers stack up there with Derek Brooks. They really do. Yeah. I mean, they really do.
Yeah.
Outside of 2002, especially, that was Brooks's best year by far, especially with the scoop and scores and the pick sixes and things like that. But if you put Derek Brooks in Lavonte David's shoes, so what's that? 2012 or 2013 when Lavonte came? Yeah. And Derek Brooks is on the Buccaneers now, and you put Lavonte David back on that Dungy Gruden team with Monty Kiffin. Lavonte David's the Hall of Famer, and Derek Brooks might struggle to make some Pro Bowls, given the same Pro Bowl voting system, which is archaic. That's right. The case, and it doesn't mean Derek Brooks is not a Hall of Fame player. He is, but my point is
they were going to the
he
playoff.
Dropped in coverage a lot. Yeah. Lavonte David, yeah, exactly. It's Brooks got the notoriety from the playoffs and thus made the Pro Bowls, etc. It's a snowball effect.
Exactly.
And Lavonte David being on all those losing Buccaneer teams did not have the momentum. The snowball couldn't get built, therefore it could not roll down the hill. That's where we are.
I agree. All right, Scotty, great stuff as always, my friend. It's a big day for you guys. I know you'll be all over the roster. What do you got going at Pewter Report today?
Yeah. We got our updated Bucs roster tracker on pewterreport.com, so you can check out all of the roster moves as they happen on pewterreport.com. We have our podcast at 4 o'clock today on Pewter Report TV. That's our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to that. And you can also find us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Pewter Report.
All right, we'll be paying attention.
Go Cats.
Yep, I see.
College football season. Yeah, you know who's going to be joining me in Manhattan for the K-State opener on Saturday? Rondé Barber, new Kansas State Wildcat fan.
Oh, why is he a Kansas State Wildcat fan?
Because his daughter Justice is dating RJ Garcia, who is a redshirt freshman wide receiver who went to Berkeley Prep in Tampa. And I coached RJ Garcia with the South Pasco Predators for a couple of years. That? Small world, isn't it? Yeah,
it is indeed. So good luck to the Kansas State team, and good luck to my Florida State team.
Wildcats.
All right, partner. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks, buddy. The great Scott Reynolds right there. College. It's such a great weekend of college football. Cannot wait. From 9 o'clock in the morning. That's when College Game Day starts, right? 9?
Yeah.
9 o'clock to the noon. I figured out what's the noon game?
The college for
Yeah,
college
we'll
this year?
get you the whole schedule.
We'll get
you
the whole skate, and I got to find out where game day is too.
Yeah, all right, we'll take I think Columbus.
I would assume so.
Okay, Columbus. All right, we'll take a break. Our first hour brought to you by Emerging Investigations. EmergingINV.com is the website. Tampa Bay's #1 private investigation agency. If you're having any issues with your spouse, or maybe some problems at work, or you need to find somebody, you just need some private investigation, they are the best. You can find them at emerginginv.com, emerginginv.com. All right, when we come back, TJ Reed's going to join us at 11:20. We'll get into some Braves talk, some baseball talk, some college football talk when we come back. Stay with us. JP here for Emerging Investigations, Tampa Bay's premier investigation agency. Do you suspect your spouse is cheating or involved in a divorce, that your spouse is hiding money, an ex-employee or current employee with suspicious behavior? Is there a criminal matter you need help with? If you need information you can count on, using the professionals at Emerging Investigations is a slam dunk. Emerging Investigations is a licensed and insured private investigation agency, family-owned. Emerging is your ideal resource to secure evidence and validation, allowing you to make informed decisions in life's biggest matters. Led by industry executive Brian D'Antonio, Emerging possesses the experience and resources to get needed results. Emerging Investigations maintains an excellent reputation as a premier investigation agency. They are known for results. You're not just hiring a PI, but an organized, dedicated team using state-of-the-art technology. Their proven investigative methods produce crucial information used in criminal cases, insurance fraud, and personal injury claims. Many local attorneys, industry agencies, and your concerned neighbors all count on Emerging Investigations. Just go to their website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's 813-291-FACT-3228. Get results you can trust in life's biggest matters. Emerging Investigations. Now is the time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com.
Hey guys, Serena Fazan here for the Gold and Diamond Source. Are you looking for the hottest trends in men's jewelry? Ladies love to see men spice it up with something cool from the Gold and Diamond Source. Whether you're looking for a gold chain, fashion rings, even a pre-owned Rolex watch, or thinking about getting engaged, there's only one place to go. Go see my friends, Julie and Steve Weintraub at the Gold and Diamond Source for your one-stop jewelry supercenter. It's never been more important to shop local and support the businesses that support our amazing Tampa Bay community. None better than the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, or online at goldendiamond.com.
Let's go right now. Back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. Brought to you by Emerging Investigations, emerginginv.com, Tampa Bay's premier investigation agency. They are a licensed, insured private investigation agency, family-owned. Emerging is your ideal resource to secure evidence and validation, allowing you to make informed decisions in life's biggest matters. They are led by industry executive Brian D'Antonio. They possess the experience and resources to get the needed results. Rachel is their office manager and one of their investigators as well. We're going to chat with her a little bit later on this week. She's got some great stories on how they go out and get their information. Very, very fun stuff, but it's obviously very important stuff as well. So a lot of these local attorneys and insurance agencies are using them for insurance fraud. So if you're an adjuster and you need some investigation, that's something they do extremely well. So give them a call, 813-291-FACT. That's 813-291-FACT-3228.
Wow.
Wow.
Interesting.
Another wow. Cuts all over the NFL.
Well, this one's not a cut, but it does I guess it kind of involves the Bucs. The Saints, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson has been traded to the Eagles. after extension talks broke down. So
wow,
this dude who's been a thorn in the Bucs side,
big time,
no longer on their team. I was wondering because the Eagles just released their starting safety Anthony Harris, and everybody was like, "What the heck's going on?" And 2 minutes later, they announced this trade. So
interesting.
Good news for the Bucs that this guy's out of the division.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I hate playing this guy.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Was he the guy that hurt Godwin?
I can't.
I'm gonna go back and look at that.
I gotta
play
go look at it
again.
again, but
I think
it was
thinking
either
of this.
him or it was PJ Williams. But I always thought it was Chauncey.
Yeah, I did too. We'll double check that, but just good to have him gone. Good to have him gone,
Yeah.
no doubt about it. Have we heard about Alvin Kamara's suspension yet?
It doesn't sound like he's going to get an actual suspension until next year at the earliest. So that's
Really?
gone away.
Really? That's
there's-
interesting
there's
because
just-
at game 2, I was hoping he would be out.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to play the entire year, no problem. Which again, I
How does that happen?
I don't know.
This NFL
we're not going to
justice
begin
thing.
to understand what the NFL is doing.
Yeah,
so.
it's crazy. I mean, the fantasy football league people are going crazy. Like, what's
Yeah, because
so-
I have Kamara. So
yeah. So the
very on edge.
scuttlebutt is he's not because we've heard that's definitely going to come down at some
Yeah,
point. It could be up to 6 games.
Yeah, the latest update was that it's probably not going to be sentenced until next year. The suspension. So
Interesting.
no impact this year.
And if you missed it, Tyler Johnson has been cut by the Bucs. So it looks like Scotty Miller is going to make the team. I guess Jalen Darden
Well, we
is
don't
going to
know
make the
that
team.
yet. We don't know.
By the way,
Scotty, we don't know yet.
Jalen Darden the other night against the Colts on that return that he had. I was watching the tape again because I'm sick that way. He has a chance to go inside and make a return and I know it's preseason, but it's not preseason for him. And he just takes it outside and it just runs out of bounds. Didn't we see that all of last year? I mean, I sometimes it's hard to tell from that angle whether he had a chance to go inside, but going outside meant he wasn't going to get hit and wasn't going to get to the 20-yard line.
This was kick return, right?
Yeah, kickoff return, a mortar kick to the 10-yard line. He runs up to where the outside gunner is being blocked, and can go right or left, go inside and maybe make something of it, or go left and just go out of it. And maybe the coach just told him just to do that. I don't know.
Well, at this point, I'm trying to see who's making this team at receiver.
I mean, I see guys making returns against the Bucs all night long, and every time we make a return, there's nothing there.
Let's be real here. When you put on a Buccaneers uniform and you're returning a kick or you're returning a punt, you forget how to play football.
It's
It's just how it works in this franchise's history.
Yeah.
It's just how it works. So,
Special teams were awful.
but
against
I'm
Indianapolis.
wondering, Rashad White was returning kicks too and has been returning punts. What if they like him more there? And at that point, it's like, well, Darden, there's no need for your services anymore.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of discussion going on today. You X out Tyler Johnson, which I'm a little surprised because he's had a really good camp.
Right.
He ran with the ones. But again, I go back to last year and specifically that Saints game when everybody went down with an injury, and it was the Tyler Johnson show. And maybe that's not fair to compare him because he had in that game, but guess what? Tom Brady saw you, and he saw your offense score 0 points.
Yeah.
He saw Tyler Johnson not be able to get off the line,
Right.
get open. He couldn't
Right.
run, and he was just bad last year. It's that simple.
Yeah,
So,
and games, we put so much stock in. Well, a lot of people do. I don't. We talk about he's having a great fall camp, and this happened in the preseason games, and Scotty Miller dropped 2 balls in preseason games. To me, that compared to what I've seen in real live NFL games and what Scotty Miller can do, and it's not like he's old and busted and broken down. I mean, I know that Brady has a rapport with him, and that is huge. And I don't think I've ever seen Brady really have a rapport with Tyler Johnson unless he was the last guy standing, and had to go to him. Same with Cyril Grayson.
well, Tyler Johnson, I thought was good in 2020. That's the weird
it was
thing.
not
in there.
bad.
I thought he was a steal at the 5th round, right? And I thought he was
That's
going
what we all heard.
I thought he was going to be a potential, maybe not at like Godwin, but I thought he had
He had
similar
flashes,
upside.
yeah.
And
But I'm telling you, man.
last year just killed him.
But also, I'm telling you, when you don't block, when you miss your blocks, when you miss those things, and you don't show effort, that stuff just does not fly with coaches, and it overshadows almost everything else you're doing. And I think that's a big reason. Oh, and here we go. Same thing. OJ Howard cut by the Bills, and they're going to pay him $3.19 million. They guaranteed OJ Howard. They're going to pay him not to play. That's how.
And I believe the Bucs get a compensatory
Yeah.
pick for that as well.
Yeah. Again, OJ's super talented and a great guy. And I did a one-on-one with him like 3 years ago, 2-3 years ago, back when we could do those things. And he's a great guy, a great smile. And you just being around him, but you always get that sense that football's not that important to him. He likes being an NFL player and getting the notoriety and the play and getting paid. But it comes down to doing the work and the dirty work. It's just not something he's real interested in.
He's always going to be a frustrating player for me. Because I
so
remember.
If you think the Bucs are going to get him back, no.
But I remember that 2017 draft very, very vividly, and I remember everybody. I think everybody was assuming, oh my gosh, Dalvin Cook's on the board.
Right.
And then I don't even think that's me being FSU biased. I think everybody, for the most part. I mean, I was in a
definitely
room.
me.
I was in a room of like 20 people, and everybody
Cook.
was waiting for Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
And it was O.J. Howard. And at the time, O.J. Howard was seen as a steal. Remember, he was supposed to be like a top 10 pick?
Yeah.
And again, flashes were there. Never the same after the Achilles injury, unfortunately. He's a frustrating player. He's a frustrating player to me because there was so much talent there, but now it looks like he's going to have a hard time staying in this league.
Yeah, I think he may be done. I don't know who takes a flyer on you when the Bills are going to pay you $3.19 million not to play. I mean, that just tells you that they're cooking.
There was a tweet by one big insider, which I'm trying to find here. It said there actually is a lot of teams that are keeping their tabs on him, but it's mostly them trying to do research to figure out what is wrong with this guy, because on the outside looking in, the talent just pops.
Listen, if two organizations that I would say right now are on top of their game in terms of personnel, the Bucs and the Bills, don't want you, don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. You know, if two firms at Wall Street don't like you and you've worked with them and they've worked inside your organization and they think you're not good, why would you think you're smarter than them? And I don't get that. We haven't even talked about the Jimmy Garoppolo situation. So yesterday, Jimmy Garoppolo decides he's going to take $6.5 million, tear up his contract because he knew he was going to get cut, and no one else was going to pay him that money. So he decided, you know what, I'm going to stay here, take less money. That makes it doable for the 49ers to keep him. And I think, frankly, that just saved their season, because I think by week 4, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. I don't know. I mean, obviously, Kyle Shanahan knows a hell of a lot more about Trey Lance than I do. But I just think that from what I've seen from Trey Lance, and obviously it's very, very early, the roster that the 49ers are acting like they have this roster window forever. I don't get it. I don't get what they're doing. I wonder if John Lynch and Shanahan they must be on the same page on this, but I just don't get it.
To be fair, when you talk about having this roster window forever, you look at a lot of their best players, just go position by position. Running back Elijah Mitchell was a rookie last year, and he's a stud. You have Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk, who are both, I don't even think either of them are even 25 yet.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. I know George Kittle's 28, and he has some injuries in him, but he's George Kittle. Nick Bosa on the defensive line. So a lot of their best players are all like 25.
But the rosters change quickly with injuries, and this guys. I don't. Every year to me is absolutely crucial.
You know how I feel about this situation.
Yeah, I know.
You know how I feel,
and we agree on this. But I think, and it shows. It once again shows to his teammates who love Jimmy Garoppolo anyway. Hey, this guy's willing to take less money to stay here. He's not trying to force himself out. What I found out weird, I was reading an article yesterday. Do you know he hasn't even been in quarterback meetings?
No, he's totally disconnected from the team. They don't want him there.
Why would you do that?
I don't.
So does he get back in the room now?
I don't think it's a Garoppolo decision.
All right, you're allowed back in now. What the F?
Yeah, and that's the team. I just, again, we love John Lynch for everything he did here, and he's clearly a great roster builder. But this is a baffling decision.
Like I'm saying, so he's not in the room. Like he works out on the side. He's not in the huddle. He's just been excommunicated.
They've said it in public. This is not your team anymore. We don't want you.
Wow.
And you're inviting this guy back in.
And now we're like, oh, okay, you can come back in now. We might need you. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo has to be the least ego-driven dude in the world. I mean, because he is getting absolutely neutered by the organization, and he's still standing there. It's almost like he's just sitting there going, I'm here. I'll be here if you need me. You probably will, and because he's loyal to his teammates, and the teammates love him. That's what the word is.
I just feel like he's got an unfair career. He comes into a situation with Brady, and everybody thought he was the successor, right?
Yeah.
And that was a whole crap show, right? Because I mean, they had ended up having to trade him,
right?
Because I'm sure Brady ordered it.
Of course.
Then he goes to San Francisco. He has all the injuries, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think Kyle Shanahan ever really wanted him long term, but they won with him. And he still said, no, we're going to go draft this quarterback and we're going to trade up for him. And guess what, Jimmy? Thanks, but no thanks. Thanks for getting us to Super Bowl. Thanks for almost getting us to another one, but we don't want you. I just feel like this guy's had an unfair shake his entire career.
Yeah.
And I can't understand it for the life of me.
Well, there are a lot of things that we don't know within organizations that happen, or the things that Kyle Shanahan sees on tape that he feed at.
We get it.
And
we
you don't
see
think
it.
that it. But here's the thing: you're going to go out and put your trust in a guy who's played limited amount of snaps, not at a very high level in college, and has all the ability in the world, but you have no idea how he's going to perform under the lights in the NFL. I just think it's a huge risk, and 90% of the time these risks don't work out. So
much for John Molchin, by the way. He's just been waived.
So Molchin's been waived. All right, I'm going to tell you right now, Lights make it a deal. And he's going to bring in somebody, an interior line. There's no way they go into the season with this group that they have. And I don't think it's going to be waiver wire stuff. I think he's going to get somebody.
I'm only laughing right now because I'm going through the entire cut list, and man, so many former Knowles getting cut left and right.
Who
today.
you got?
Marvin Wilson was cut today.
Okay.
Which is crazy. From a first-round pick lock to cut. Terrence Brooks was cut today. Mario Edwards was cut today.
Wow.
A lot of the former
Knowles
bloodbath. A lot of the former Knowles that we love are not.
It's so funny. You look back at the success rate of the team, and you just all you got to do is go look at drafting. Go look at the players that are in the NFL, and when they've been good, they have a ton of players in the NFL. And there's still lots of guys that are left from the 2013 national championship team, whereas the next 5 years, there's nobody. And I mean nobody.
No, Janarius Robinson got cut today, too, also. That's the other one.
Derwin James may be the only one of that era, and even he was closer
Ramsey,
to,
and he was on that 2013
they were on the 2013 team, they're closer to that end. But, you go from 15, 16, 17, 18, 19.
I think Auden Tate was cut, too.
Auden Tate was cut. There's just nothing.
Cam Akers, salute to you. You're the only one really kicking it there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we'll take a break, and when we come back, TJ Reeves, Bucs sideline guy, going to join us, and we'll get his take on his sideline observances of Tom Brady. We are brought to you in the second hour by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. If you're looking to lose weight, testosterone replacement therapy, or just get your immune system back in order, they have great personalized plans for you. Go to BAMMC.com to find out more. Back at 3. Stay with us. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately, or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Are you concerned your spouse might be cheating, or want to locate a long-lost relative or love? Or a missing person and the police are not helping? An insurance adjuster who needs proof of injury. Hi, I'm Rachel D'Antonio from Tampa Bay's premier private investigation agency, Emerging Investigation. We have a proven track record of results. Local attorneys and insurance companies hire us to discover insurance fraud and crucial information in criminal cases. We can help in custody matters, and we devote a tremendous state-of-the-art technology and cutting-edge industry surveillance techniques to get you trusted results. Larger corporate agencies can be more expensive and do not offer the personal level of customer service and interaction that we pride ourselves on. We are a family-owned business. Our professional experience team includes my son, lead investigator Zach D'Antonio, a former collegiate athlete, and my daughter Emily, who leads our in-house investigations team. Don't take matters into your own hands by trying to install snooping programs on phones or GPS trackers. That can cause unneeded stress and give you inaccurate results. Go with the professionals at Emerging Investigations. We have proven results and tremendous testimonials from our satisfied customers. Call for a free consultation and we can discuss how we can help. Peace of mind is as valuable as bad news. Just go to our website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's emerginginv.com. We're Emerging Investigations. We get results in life's biggest matters.
Hi, my name is Mike Warner, a Navy vet. I've had problems with addictions throughout the many decades. Something saved my life, and that is the Heroes Mile program.
Hi, I'm Bill Lennox, retired Lieutenant General, United States Army. If you have any challenges in alcohol, drug, if you have PTSD, MST, think about Heroes Mile.
Heroes Mile, a recovery center for veterans by veterans. Call 1-888-VET-NOW2 to learn more or visit heroesmile.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back. This is the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo was on last week talking about get your sleep, and you're not getting your sleep. You need to speak. You need to listen to Lugo. They've got some great plans over there. If you're looking to lose weight, in fact, they have $100 off their usual weight loss plan. It's a good time to do that as you get into fall. When you go into your tailgate parties, you want to look your best. If you're looking for testosterone replacement therapy, great place to do it. Everything is personalized. So go to BAMMC.com and be your best self from a health standpoint.
I'm looking
at you.
I'm not getting enough sleep because I'm too busy watching Avengers, Infinity Wars, and Endgames in my mom's basement every night. So,
well, our next guest is a big Infinity War fan. The great TJ Reeves.
I am.
Are you a Marvel guy? Are you a superhero movie
I have
guy?
become more of a Marvel guy recently because the Twins got into it. First of all, good to be with you. I can say that I'm sleep deprived for a lot of reasons. Infinity Wars and the Marvel Endgame and all that is not one of them.
There you go with the wars. But you and Scott are never coming back on after today.
He gets so triggered if you don't say it correctly. I'm like,
well, I'm sorry. What was I supposed to call it? What did I mess up?
War.
It's
not Infinity War.
We're not putting
singular.
Into this.
It's one long war with 67 movies. Is what you're saying.
So it should be plural.
So I was in the theater, young Nick, for Thor 2, having not seen Thor 1. Having to sit beside a twin that was giving me the play-by-play of why I don't know anything that's going on, and she's filling in the gaps for me. So I was doing my fatherly duty this summer, watching some of this here and there.
Good for you.
Somehow I don't think this is what you were wanting me to come on and talk about is
I'm much
movie
more
reviews.
interested in another superhero, and that would be Mr. Tom Brady.
Oh, him.
Yeah, of course, you were on the sideline watching him play the other night, and you got the great vantage point of not only him and his arm velocity and accuracy. We'll start there with what did you see from your vantage point as far as his readiness to play football in the regular season?
So we were curious about all this. We had been watching him warm up in the pregame. Then I got down there on the field for Buccaneers radio. And remember, on the opening kickoff, there was a Colts player on the kickoff that injured, I believe, his Achilles. I never heard the follow-up, but he was laying on the ground and he screamed out, grabbing the bottom of his heel and the bottom of his calf, which is usually the giveaway that it's something serious like that, and they brought the cart for him. So that was all in the delay mode before Brady got out there to run the first play. So he's standing right in front of me, warming up, throwing balls to Cameron Brate real quick, about 15, 20 yards away from him. And I mean, they're bullets. Now they're 15 or 20-yard passes. I understand they're not 40-yard passes. They're not, lasers of Tom Brady maybe 10 years ago or longer, but I saw some of that firsthand, saw him on that opening drive right there at field level from the small sample size. I think you're good to start the year if you can protect him. Somehow I think that's about to come up next. Can you keep him upright, keep him from getting hit, etc.? So, we saw a little sample the other night, and then he talked to the media after the game, which you and I were talking last week. He was not really under an obligation to do that, but he chose to do that. So I'm sure we'll get into all of this now, right?
Yeah. So what was his demeanor, you think, on the sidelines? From the cutaway shots on TV, he looked very happy talking to Julio, talking to all the older guys, which he tends to do a lot of, joking around with all of them. He looked to be in a very good headspace.
Playoff Lenny was his buddy sitting there for a little while.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on what
I saw the same thing, and he was talking some to Blaine Gabbert and to Kyle Trask, and whenever Clyde Christensen was over there as well, the quarterback's coach, and so they were going over some different things, obviously during the game, trying to get back into that routine. He knew he was not going back into the game and took the shoulder pads off there after that first drive. So it looked like business as usual over there for him when he's not in the game and he's with his teammates and trying to get everything normalized for what the regular season routine will be like, where you come off the field, you go look at the Surface tablets, you're talking to this guy, you're maybe, dare I say, screaming at an offensive lineman who didn't get the block you wanted him to give, and then you get ready to go out and go play the next series, reload for the next series. They were getting in the routine.
And were you surprised he went to the podium? I think everybody was shocked he was going to go to the podium. We didn't think we'd see him till week 1.
And I did not know that he had gone to talk to the media because, again, in my radio duties, and the world has changed. And I think we talked about this before, that we can now go in the locker room again for the first time since 2019. So I'm doing a couple live interviews with Levante David and with Cade Otton. And then I'm obligated to go talk to Coach Todd Bowles when he's done off the podium. After that's part of his media obligations is done, he talks with us on the radio. So I'm in his office talking with him, and I come back out, and all the reporters are walking around buzzing about what Brady said. I'm going, what Brady said? So I was not aware of this, obviously, until after the fact that he had gone and had talked to him, had talked to the media in that instance. So again, that's he's one of the all-time greats, and he's done a million press conferences before and after games. And so he was in there answering some questions and getting ready for the regular season and making himself available, which I thought that was interesting. Obviously, I know you've had some feelings on that too.
Yeah, and the fact that he did kind of address his personal stuff in a very real way and say he's going through some shit. And I thought,
aren't we all?
Yeah, exactly.
Aren't we all in one
he's
form or
just
another?
like us. That's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think we all can agree, TJ, that this guy, I think whatever's going on in his personal life, I think with many mortals would probably, cause some concern. But with him, it's only going to fuel his fire. It's going to make him more focused on what he has to do for his team. So I'm whatever it is, I hope he gets plenty of support, and I'm sure he will. But I think in terms of football, he'll be ready to go.
Well, and I've heard so much after this about, well, he didn't address where he was. He wasn't pressed on that in the press conference about where he was. I don't know how forthcoming he would have been had he been pressed on it, as opposed to shutting it down and saying, are we going to talk about football or are we done?
Right.
But you can pick your avenue that you want to travel here on. Was this about a family vacation? I've heard so many different things by now. We're all going to find out together if it has anything to do with the Masked Singer, which has been out there now for a couple of weeks. I mean, we're all going to find out together whether that's true or correct or not. And I keep saying to everybody that one of the critical elements of that show is they threaten everybody with secrecy, where you can't know whether they've been on the show. Even people with their family can't necessarily tell them when they went or how long they were on the show, or they have non-disclosure agreements. So I don't know. The good news is, for those that were theorizing that this was maybe to walk away for a second time and walk away for good.
Exactly.
That's not the case. He's back.
That's the only thing that matters, actually. It's the only thing that matters. All right. So your thought, we just learned that Tyler Johnson has been cut. I think that's a surprise to many. Not necessarily myself, but are you surprised?
I think that's a surprise out of the group of he and Scotty Miller and Brashad Perriman that he would be there and is one of those other guys there also. So I disclaim this way, and we've said this now for the last few years. I'm saying it again here, and I'll say it a couple more times probably today. Said it on another show yesterday. Be mindful of the fact that the 53 guys at 4:00 today, especially with an extra week right now before a game, is not necessarily going to be the 53 guys across the NFL. Because there are some 800 players that are hitting the waiver wire, 800 between the 32 teams that have to cut down. So you have to believe they don't consult with me on this. Jason Light, the Brass, the Glazers, Bruce Arians, Todd Bowles. You got to believe they're looking for an offensive lineman, an interior offensive lineman. Yeah. And if there's one there, then that's going to free up, to free up a spot. They're going to have to get rid of somebody else probably from off the waiver wire. There may be 1, 2, or even 3 players that are on the 53 this afternoon that aren't on the 53 by like Friday or early next week. So back to your point about Tyler Johnson, that's a bit surprising because they were showcasing him. It looked like he was out there early on in the game the other night. Maybe they were trying to make a trade. Special teams is part of this between he and Jalen Darden and Scotty Miller, and Brashad Perriman's not a guy that's going to play special teams. He's a veteran. He's not a returner. He's not a gunner when you're running down on punt coverage or kickoff coverage. So who else? Are both of those guys safe? I don't know that both of those guys are safe because, again, if you just go down the list of Evans, Godwin, Gage, Julio Jones, those 4 we know. Now you have Tyler Johnson, Scotty Miller, Jalen Darden, Brashad Perriman at receiver. That's 4 more names. They're not keeping 8 receivers, all right? So if Tyler Johnson is one of them, are they keeping 7 receivers? I put it to you guys. And if they're only keeping 6 receivers, who is the odd man out? Is it Darden? Is it Miller? Is it Perriman out of that group?
I think it's Darden. I think Scotty Miller stays and maybe Perriman. Just because of Nick said it, it's just Brady trusts veterans. Brady trusts veterans. That's what he wants to play with. And
I think he has like PTSD from the Saints game when it was Tyler Johnson and it was Jalen Darden as your 2 main receivers once Evans and Godwin went down, and you scored 0 points. And right. Darden, I think that game we all kind of looked and said, yeah, Darden's not ready to play in the NFL yet. And we looked at Tyler Johnson and we said, he can't get off the line. He's not quick enough. And I think, Brady had the really cool moment on the slant to Brashad Perriman in the Bills game. I think that means something to him. He had signature moments with Scotty Miller.
And I agree with you, but how healthy is Brashad Perriman at the moment? Because he's been nicked up in this camp. And is that a factor? Because he was hurt at the end of last year. He was also hurt at the beginning of the year with the Jets before they released him.
That's right.
So I think there's an injury concern there. Again, I'm not privy to this. I don't talk to the doctors and Bobby Slater, the trainer, on a regular basis to find out about this stuff. But that may be another factor that Perriman may not be healthy enough as we look at veterans and the decision they have to make. I don't know.
And Devin Tompkins, how does they haven't released him yet, have they?
No, he's still
that
there.
We know of.
Yeah.
And again, he's practice squad eligible.
Yeah.
They Stearns is the same way as practice squad eligible.
They released him, but hoping to get him.
Right. But if you get them on the practice squad, then you're able to immediately elevate them if you need them down the road because of injury or whatever in the season. So you would want those guys back. And I'll say this, Tyler Johnson will have an opportunity to start somewhere, probably on a bad team. If they pick him up, Tyler Johnson's got a chance to play, and Tyler Johnson's got a chance to start. And there's probably going to be a couple of other guys that the Bucs are forced to get rid of that somebody else is going to grab, and maybe they end up starting for them. This is a solid roster for sure.
Yeah. TJ Reeves joining us here. And I think Grant Stewart was traded. It looks like Fudukasi is going to make this team. And I think he's been a wonderful.
Wow. So your breaking news to me, Stewart was traded when? Just a few minutes ago?
Yeah, he was traded to the Colts for a draft pick.
And so that was obviously brewing at the game. And I was with Grant Stewart for a minute just after the game the other night, and he was polite to everybody. He's such a lovable, excited guy and a go-getter. And that may be one of those where the Colts were saying, hey, we need linebacker help. And they're talking to Jason Light while they were up there.
Yeah. Special teams help too. So there's going to be a lot of wheeling and dealing. I think, and listen, I think it's a priority. If I'm Jason Light, I'm not just looking at the waiver wire. I'm looking at guys, veterans in this league, because we're going to see this too at this cut down. There are going to be veterans in this league that are making money, $4, $5, $6, $7 million as an offensive lineman. And these guys have seen, 4th round picks, 5th round picks who they drafted come up and say, you know what, that guy's just as good as the guy we're paying. So let's look for a trade for him. And I think Jason Light is looking for interior line help, if not 1, maybe even 2 veterans that they can bring in here, because right now, Hainsey's got a gimpy ankle. Leverett, we have no idea what's going on with him. We just got rid of Bolton, I think
John
was.
Molchen, who probably come back to practice
it might come back to practice squad.
And he played 3rd string center the other night.
Right.
He's been a free agent in the league. He played center at Boise State like 3 years ago. Yeah. So there's a guy on a practice squad maybe if you need him. And I was just thinking,
I'll make a move.
And when you were talking about this, there's always these conversations being had about trades, but there's some veterans that are sitting out there that have not been in a training camp. So T.Y. Hilton is one of those, not for the Buccaneers. We show up in Indianapolis, and yes, they've got Michael Pittman's son, which it still makes me feel really old to see Michael Pittman Jr. out there running around when I remember Michael Pittman in the Super Bowl year. He was around with us. That's crazy. But they got T.Y. Hilton's likeness outside on Lucas Oil Stadium, a full color likeness of him. And he was never signed by anybody this offseason and is still sitting out there waiting for the best deal. And maybe it's the Dallas Cowboys who the Bucs are about to play. Maybe it's somebody here in the next couple of days that he signs with. Jason Pierre-Paul and Ndamukong Suh, who this team chose not to re-sign, they're still sitting out there. Are they going to end up with a team? Are their careers over? Are they going to take the veteran minimum, whatever deal they can work here in the next few days? So it's fascinating, and there's several other guys probably just like that didn't get signed by anybody, haven't been in a training camp. What kind of shape are they in?
Right.
That's another variable here on this.
Ndamukong Suh was cut because he can't run anymore, but I'll tell you what. He could be one hell of a left guard. you couldn't move that. All you'd have to do is just stand there, and he could do a hell of a lot more than that. But I think he's probably done. Your thoughts on just as you look at this team now, the roster, at least the guys we know are going to play heavy load here. Everybody's talking about the offensive line being an issue. I think Brady is good enough to get the ball out. I think they're good enough as a team to manage that deal, max protect whatever they got to do. And I think this defense is going to be fantastic. I really, really do, with the additions of Akeem Hicks and Keanu O'Neal and Logan Ryan and Winfield getting better, all these young kids getting better. That to me is something that nobody is really talking about, how good this defense can be. And just as a team, I just think that just makes them just a wonderful team. I know we see all the warts because we're so close to it, but from 40,000 feet, this is still one hell of a football team. Would you agree?
Yeah, you've got a roster, and again, at defensive back, you can't keep everybody that's there. You've got the mix, the stars. Okay, so you've got Carlton Davis, you've got Sean Murphy-Bunting, you've got Antoine Winfield. These guys are on the team. That Keanu O'Neal, Logan Ryan, Mike Edwards, who they like for the versatility. All right, that's 6 that I'm up to. What does that mean for Jamel Dean? Jamel Dean didn't play a lot the other night. What about Zion McCullum, the rookie? What about D. Delaney, who they love on special teams and played a bunch in fill-in roles, played a lot last year in the secondary? Do you keep him? Not to cut you off, but it looks like, according to Greg Allman, they put Rashard Robinson on injured reserve, which would lead the way for D. Delaney to stay. Yeah. So, and I keep coming on saying to you guys, you can't have enough of these defensive backs, but how many can you keep versus other positions? Offensive line where you're looking for depth, or maybe receiver that we're talking about. I mean, it comes down to, is there a 7th receiver? Is there a 7th or an 8th defensive back? Is there an 8th or a 9th offensive lineman? Usually that number is like 7 or 8. I don't think there's going to be 9 offensive linemen on your 53. And here's another fascinating point too. Jason Light was explaining this on our pregame, and he's talked about this. He may have even talked about it on Channel 8. So like with respect to Ryan Jensen, and you just talked about putting Rashard Robinson on injured reserve. If you are on injured reserve before this 53 is set, and I think it's even through next week, if you go on injured reserve before the 53 is set for week 1, you are out for the year. So that is another factor on, are you sure that Ryan Jensen can't play at some point this year? And if he sticks on the 53 initially, then that's an indication they believe he can play later in the year, and he probably goes on injured reserve right after the regular season opener, because then he stays on injured reserve for a minimum of 4 weeks, but then can come back. So Jason Light again was explaining, if you go on IR right now before the 53 is set, you can't come back. So keep an eye on Ryan Jensen making the final roster for that reason too, and then injured reserve later in what you're allowed to do under the rules with injured reserve. That would be quite the development if he could come back midseason or something. And also, too, just because these are all coming at once, Devin Tompkins was cut today. Devin Tompkins was cut. So, okay. There you go. He might be squad eligible. Yep. And again, somebody may pick him up because they've been there are bad teams all over the league, whether it's Seattle or Jacksonville. You just start going down the list of who's near the bottom. The Cleveland Browns look like they're going to have a bad year. Obviously, the Jets have struggled. You start going to some of the bad teams. Do they need an extra receiver? And might they be interested in some of these guys that are not on the Buccaneers now, or other guys that may be surprising names that are cut by other teams at receiver. That if you're Jacksonville, give me that. Seattle, give me that.
Oh yeah,
whoever it is.
It's going to be very interesting. And as we look again, before I get you out of here, we look ahead to week 1. We think we got holes and things to fill. You look at the Dallas Cowboys and some of the injuries they've had and the issues they've had with penalties that they have not cleaned up in this preseason. Dallas is a bit of a mess right now. They're short at receiver.
Yes.
Their offensive line has been decimated. I like the Bucs going in there on Sunday night. I think they're in a very good position. Your thoughts?
And is Ezekiel Elliott healthy or not? Because it's now come clearer over the course of the offseason. He was playing with a partially torn knee ligament or trying to play through it for a lot of last year. How healthy is he? How effective is he from here on out for the Cowboys? We only care about the week 1 game for the matchup with the Buccaneers. How healthy is he in that game? So I agree with you, and that is going to be some kind of atmosphere with a lot of unknowns on the Buccaneer offensive line, unknowns for the Cowboys with replacing a couple of starters. There's talk that Dallas might be making a trade for an offensive lineman. They're always aggressive. It will not be dull, my friends, over the course of the next few days here. And again, one more time, just because you see a 53-man roster later today, that may not be the 53 tomorrow, and it may not be the 53 Thursday or even for next week. Stay tuned, because it's amazing the volume of players that are now going to be available this afternoon and tonight. And they're going to go through all of it, like in groups. Like you, Nick, you're over here, you're going through the offensive linemen and the tape. And JP, you're over here and you're going through the defensive backs and the tape. And this guy, TJ's over here looking at the receivers and the tape. And so now you're trying to determine almost in real time, hey, get the agent for that guy on the phone. We want him. We've seen his tape. He's now available. Get him on the phone. Get him in here before somebody else gets him and grabs him off the waiver wire or whatever deal that you can make with him. We'll see. And then you also have, what is the number, like up to 15 or 16 practice squad guys? I think that's what the number is.
Yeah.
So you've got to figure out from your own team who's going on the practice squad, and then who else is practice squad eligible off another team that you would want on your practice squad. Yeah. All of that is going on this afternoon and tonight. Good luck. Good luck with all of that.
And as we talk about it so flippantly for guys, I mean, this is the biggest moment of their life. Literally the biggest moment of their life. They've worked their entire lives to get to this point.
And for a good percentage of them, this is the end of their NFL career. Yeah. And maybe the XFL or the USFL, the 2 spring leagues, might come calling, but they might not come calling either. And you've got to look at, what am I doing with the rest of my life?
Important
tough day today for that.
Yeah. All right, my friend. Anything you want to promote before you get out of here?
We are all good at the moment. We're ready for the Buccaneers season. By the way, I have a lot of fun with the 3 Dog Thursday podcast with the underdogs, and I've had you on before, and I've had others on before. Yes. We love predicting underdogs in college football and the NFL. 3 Dog Thursday is back for the start of the college football season and the NFL season. Wherever you get podcasts, look for 3 Dog Thursday. We have fun with the underdogs. We do a pretty good job of picking them. Like, for example, JP, I'm big on this. I think, did we talk about this last week? I can't remember. Teams that have played a game versus teams that have not played a game.
FSU.
The team that's played a game and is the underdog, keep an eye on FSU and LSU. I know LSU on paper should be better, but it's a first-year coach, quarterback situation up in the air, and Florida State played a game last week. There are several examples of that this week. North Texas is another one with SMU. North Texas played and won last week. They're a significant underdog with SMU. This is what we do on 3 Dog Thursday. We have fun, but keep an eye on that. Teams that have played a game last week that are underdogs this week against a team that hasn't played yet.
Keep an eye plus 3.5, I believe.
Just keep an eye on some of those underdogs. I'm here for you, brother. I'm here for you.
Love it. Thanks, TJ. Appreciate it, buddy. We'll catch up with you.
Always be well.
Thanks. All right, quick break. Our final break. We'll come back. We'll give you some of those underdogs maybe for this week. We'll look at the college schedule coming up this weekend and any other late-breaking news as far as cuts go. Definitely there's a bunch with the Bucs. So stay tuned. Back in a few.
On here for the Gold and Diamond Source. Are you looking for the hottest trends in men's jewelry? Ladies love to see men spice it up with something cool from the Gold and Diamond Source. Whether you're looking for a gold chain, fashion rings, even a pre-owned Rolex watch, or thinking about getting engaged, there's only one place to go. Go see my friends, Julie and Steve Weintraub at the Gold and Diamond Source for your one-stop jewelry supercenter. It's never been more important to shop local and support the businesses that support our amazing Tampa Bay community. None better than the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, or online at goldendiamond.com.
Are you concerned your spouse might be cheating or want to locate a long-lost relative or love? Or a missing person and the police are not helping? An insurance adjuster who needs proof of injury. Hi, I'm Rachel D'Antonio from Tampa Bay's premier private investigation agency, Emerging Investigation. We have a proven track record of results. Local attorneys and insurance companies hire us to discover insurance fraud and crucial information in criminal cases. We can help in custody matters, and we devote a tremendous state-of-the-art technology and cutting-edge industry surveillance techniques to get you trusted results. Larger corporate agencies can be more expensive and do not offer the personal level of customer service and interaction that we pride ourselves on. We are a family-owned business. Our professional experience team includes my son, lead investigator Zach D'Antonio, a former collegiate athlete, and my daughter Emily, who leads our in-house investigations team. Don't take matters into your own hands by trying to install snooping programs on phones or GPS trackers. That can cause unneeded stress and give you inaccurate results. Go with the professionals at Emerging Investigations. We have proven results and tremendous testimonials from our satisfied customers. Call for a free consultation and we can discuss how we can help. Peace of mind is as valuable as bad news. Just go to our website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's emerginginv.com. We're Emerging Investigations. We get results in life's biggest matters.
Guys, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, and you just don't feel like you have the vitality you once had? You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. Do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling.
Pure Sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by, in our second hour, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. You want to get your health right, get your testosterone levels up. Even you young guys, by the way, studies have shown ages 16 to 39 testosterone levels here in America have plunged dramatically over the last 10 to 15 years. Older guys, issues with it too. I've been on testosterone for, I think, 6 or 7 years right now. It is a complete game changer on so many levels. So guys, if you're, just not feeling like you used to feel, libido is down, your energy's down, not getting anything out of your workout, Chris Lugo over at Bay Area Modern Medical Center is an expert in the field, and they do it the right way. They get your blood work done, and they keep you, they monitor you as far as where your levels are. So do it the right way, not some of these fly-by-night clinics that are just dealing out testosterone right and left without doctors really finding out what's going on with your body. So go to BAMMC.com and check it out, and just give them a call over there. Tell them JP sent you. We are at week 1 for college football games tomorrow night. Thursday night. We are ready to roll. And there's a lot of good games on Thursday night. We got Central Michigan at Oklahoma State, number 12 Oklahoma State. West Virginia in Pittsburgh. I don't think they've played in like 10 years, but this is like the 106th meeting of the backyard brawl. That's ESPN 7 o'clock, West Virginia at Pitt. That should be a very interesting game. A lot of big hopes for Tennessee. Ball State will play there. UCF opens on Thursday night, right? South Carolina State?
Yeah, I don't know what South Carolina State is, I'm being honest with you.
They are I think they're in the MEAC. The MEAC.
Yeah,
they're in the MEAC.
I don't want to diminish them actually because they won the MEAC title last year.
Yeah, good football team. Yeah. Watch out, because you are the UCF hater now anyway.
Watch out.
And then Friday night got a couple of interesting. Michigan State will welcome in Western Michigan. So kind of a rivalry game there, at least for Western Michigan. And then we move to Saturday. A&M will welcome in at Sam Houston State, and that's a nooner. Michigan plays at noon against Colorado State. 13th ranked NC State. A lot of people very interested in that team. They got a lot of guys returning. They got a great quarterback.
Man, Devin Leary.
Yeah, they're on the road at East Carolina at Dowdy-Ficklen Stadium. I used to go to that East Carolina games all the time.
Really?
Yeah, when I was covering football up in North Carolina. Hard place to get to. They were good back then too, and it was tough to go in there and play. I don't know how good they've been. They have not been good recently, I don't think.
Yeah, middle of the road AAC team.
But they're NC State on the road, so you can watch that at noon if you want to get a look at them. North Carolina is at Appalachian State. Watch out. Appalachian State's got a great program.
So North Carolina opened up with like the two stereotypical like openers that you go and demolish before you get to the big games. FAMU and Appalachian State.
Yeah.
Like if you talk about, I want to start with a cupcake. If everybody throws out those two teams.
App State, though.
But App State's a little bit different now.
App State, watch out. Watch out. So that's in the noon window. Georgia's in the 3:30 window, taking on number 11 Oregon.
They're going to kill Oregon.
You think?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oregon ain't the 11th ranked team in the nation either. I got news for that one.
Yeah.
And I mean, the interesting thing there is their new head coach is Dan Lanning, who was the defensive coordinator at Georgia last year.
Exactly.
So what's he got on Georgia is going to be the question.
What's he got on
there.
Stetson Bennett?
Yeah, no.
And that Georgia defense, although talented, they lost what? Nine starters?
They'll be retooling. Yeah. I think though, Oregon to me is like Notre Dame. They are like Notre Dame, consistently underwhelming.
Miami opens against Bethune-Cookman. Oklahoma opens against UTEP. Those are in the 3:30 windows as well. That's ACC Network for Miami. If you want to get a look at Van Dyke and the boys from Miami, I think they're overrated. We'll see. A ranked game here, Cincinnati, 23rd at Arkansas at 3:30 on ESPN. So
Arkansas rolls.
Yeah, I saw them in the Outback Bowl.
And I came away impressed.
Very impressed. They're a hard-nosed football team. That's going to be at one of the two ranked teams going at it. That's in the 3:30 window as well. Anything else interesting in that on Saturday? Of course, the big games at night.
In Florida, we all know. And then Notre Dame and Ohio
Number
State.
7, Utah at Florida. That's on ESPN. 7 o'clock start there at the Swamp. That place is going to be bonkers. And at the same time, we're going to be getting Notre Dame at Ohio State at 7:30 on ABC. 17.5-point spread. That's not even supposed to be a game.
As I say, tickets as low as $299.
Yeah, $269 to get one at the shoe.
Or I could go spend $16 and see Memphis and Mississippi State.
Or Utah State at Alabama.
Bang for the buck.
Yeah. Yeah, good luck trying to get that ticket for Notre Dame. And I'm surprised it's that low, to be honest with you. And, of course, Sunday night, it's Florida State and LSU. They're the only Sunday night game.
Yeah, by themselves.
How about that?
Going to be great. And then Monday, this is
7:30.
Monday may want to be one of my keep an eye on it. Standalone game, Clemson on the road against Georgia Tech. I don't know.
This is what, year 2 or 3 for their new coach at Georgia Tech. Not exactly sure, but Clemson, interesting. Ranked number 4. They played well, obviously, towards the end of last year, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll learn a lot about these teams in week 1.
Hey, I wanted to shout this out real quick. I don't know if you saw any of Serena's match yesterday.
I did. I watched a lot of it last night, and it was a spectacular event, to be quite honest. It was pretty incredible.
To be honest, I found it odd. I found it a little odd. Did we think that she was losing or something yesterday?
Yes. Yes.
We really thought she was going to lose in the first round.
Yes. Yes.
Because everything afterwards.
Have you seen her play?
Yes, I understand.
It's been really bad.
But everything afterwards, I was like, man, this is so weird to get this treatment right after you won. Like
Yeah.
we're literally like doing this.
They were
little
clearly
eulogy for her.
expecting her to lose.
I know, but like they rolled out Billie Jean King.
Yeah,
And I forgot
Gayle
King
King.
was
Yeah.
out there, and just the whole thing. She clearly seemed like she was not expecting it. I mean, they announced her as the greatest of all time. Those little things are so weird. It's like I almost feel bad. Like Spike Lee's taking pictures. I was like, what is Spike Lee doing there?
Well, they were. It's funny because they all thought, what a weird deal. It's like you're there to pay homage to her because you just think this
felt
could
bad
be
for
the
the
last
other
moment,
player.
and then she wins, and then you're like, oh, okay, see y'all in 2 nights. We'll do this all again.
I felt bad for the other player. The way they introduced
Yes.
Serena and did
Yes.
everything, that
Yeah.
poor player was done before it started.
Yeah, and Serena was real nervous early on, and it looked like,
Yeah.
okay, this is going to be your last
This
match. But then
was-
she got it together, and it was kind of this rally moment,
Yeah.
and it was cool. It was really, really cool. Enjoyed watching it.
This was the
It's
wild
unexpected.
thing. This was the wild thing, though. Did you see this? August 29th, 2001, Serena Williams wins the U.S. Open. Albert Pujols hits a home run. Vlad Guerrero Sr., Craig Biggio, and Dante Pichette all record a hit. August 29th, 2022, Serena wins at the U.S. Open. Albert Pujols hits a home run. Vlad Guerrero Jr., Kevin Biggio, and Bo Bichette all record a hit.
That's bizarre.
That is bizarre.
That is bizarre, and really speaks to
And
the
shout out
longevity.
to whoever found that.
Yeah, exactly.
Stat out, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
But my
You have
goodness.
far too much time on your hands, whoever you are. Real quick, the Lamar Jackson story is bizarre. He liked a tweet last night from some random dude said, well, they've offered him $250 million guaranteed. And he said, no, they didn't. So evidently, the Ravens are trying to do this on the cheap. And I just can't imagine him going into playing this season because they can franchise him and keep him around forever and not give him the guaranteed money he deserves. And, he says he's not going to hold out and not going to play, he's going to play. I just can't imagine him playing without a guaranteed contract this year. But of course, nothing gets done till the deadline. And, the deadline he set was the beginning of the season. So we'll see. And then he liked the picture of him in a Miami uniform. Sure, Tua liked that. All right. Our thanks to Scott Reynolds and TJ Reeves. Always great guests here today, talking lots of Bucs football. If you missed anything, remember, subscribe to our YouTube page, The JP Peterson Show, and all of our social medias at The JP Peterson Show. Please like, and you can always watch us on Twitter, on Facebook, and our app, FanStream Sports. Download that app, and you can listen anytime, anywhere. Have a great day, everybody. Go Rays tonight.